So yeah, I'm finally making this video. I know it's late. I know I was supposed to make this probably like 2 months ago or something. And in my last video, I already told you guys I was gonna make this soon. So here it is, finally. Oh, also I shaved my head like 2 weeks ago. I didn't shave my head. I just trimmed it all off. I've wanted to do this for like a while, and I'm glad I finally did it. And yeah, so bald head it is. So in this video, I'll basically be reflecting on my year 2025. That's why it's called Athman's 2025. So I'll basically be walking through how my year started and the changes and events and realizations that took place, and hopefully I'll explain this in a timeline manner so that it makes sense. And I've already mentioned a lot of things in my other video. It was titled Athman at 20, so I won't be repeating the same thing over here. So if you're interested, you should probably go check that video out, and I'll be putting the link somewhere in the description. Yeah, I mean, you'll figure it out. Anyways, let's get started. So 2025 was probably the loneliest year of my life, but it was also the year that changed my perspective about life more than it did in the past 20 years that I've been alive. So if I was to compare the 2024 December me to the 2025 December me, I'm a different person for sure. So this was the year I had the opportunity to leave my hometown and have a fresh start somewhere. So I moved to Australia to study. And you know what they say about leaving your hometown, that you have to, leave your hometown to find success, and that you have to be in a new environment where there is potential for growth. And I'm not saying that isn't true. It is very true. At least it was true in my situation. However, what I was gonna say is that keeping this in mind, I came to Australia with so much excitement. And I didn't really have any New Year resolution for 2025 or any goals at all, to be honest. And at the time, the only thing that I was interested in was making these videos or small edits, small clips, whatever. And I just wanted to improve my skills in that. I just wanted to improve videography skills, making small edits. You get it, you get the point. And yeah, I just wanted to document my life and have something to look back at in the future, because yeah, I mean, that's what I thought was fun at the time. But when I came to Australia, nothing went as expected. My confidence just dipped completely. My social skills, I didn't have any social skills. I mean, I did before I came to Australia, but when I came here, it just disappeared. And somehow social anxiety became a thing. I don't know why, but it became a thing. It's weird coming out of my mouth. And to be honest, I was really just a loner. I know it's embarrassing, but I have to mention it. It is the truth. It was so, I don't know why, but it was just so difficult to make friends. In fact, I was a loner for the entire year. I only made this one friend the entire year. I met him a few months ago, and now he's my housemate, same thing. If you watched my previous video, then you might have seen him. His name is Gokul. Maybe it was difficult for me to make friends because I didn't put enough effort, but I'd like to think that I've always been extra careful when it comes to making new friends, because I was always careful about who I associate myself and surround myself with. And I don't want to surround myself with the wrong people, because that can influence me in a lot of ways. And I wanted to surround myself with like-minded people, and I happened to find only one, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that even though I was a loner in the beginning, the hardest part wasn't being a loner, it was being seen alone. So let that be eating alone in campus, just walking around campus alone, or attending any university events. Oh my god, I was shit scared that I stopped attending any social events. I just, like I said, social anxiety became a thing. So I just gave up on attending any social events. And what else? Going to the gym alone, yeah. So I didn't go to the gym in the beginning, but I started going to the gym in the second half of the year. So yeah, in the beginning I was, a bit scared to be seen alone. What else? Also filming and vlogging in public, like I said earlier. That was the only thing I was interested in at the time. I don't know how to explain it, but like my confidence just dipped and I didn't feel like doing it. I did make small edits here and there in the beginning, but my confidence just kept going down and down as the months went by. And I remember making this video in 2024 December. The video was titled The First Step, Ponmudi Solo Trip. So in that video, I talk about how I realized, I'm scared of doing things alone. I've always kind of needed people around to have fun, and that, it was my first step to doing something alone and to enjoy something alone, to step out of my comfort zone. So it was only 2 months after I made that video when I came to Australia. So it was just way too overwhelming for me at first. So yeah, the one thing I realized from whatever I've mentioned so far is that I was just so scared of judgment, so scared of being judged more than I was ready to admit, even though nobody was judging me. So even though I was already a loner in the beginning and I feared so much about others' judgment, I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with myself, my new life, university, adapting to university, making friends, building new healthy habits. And the biggest thing that overwhelmed me the most was uncertainty. Uncertainty about the future, uncertainty about where I was going. I just didn't know where I was going and what I was doing, and there was really nothing that could calm me down. What I needed was a perfect plan, a detailed map showing me where I was going, because uncertainty only made me anxious. But here's the thing, right? So, regardless of all this weight on my shoulders, I kept moving forward instead of quitting and instead of saying, fuck this, I'm done. Like, I want to go back home, I'm done staying here. I just kept moving forward. So, what I'm trying to say is that I didn't have a clear route, but I had a destination. And I'll explain the destination part in a second, so it'll make more sense. So there was a short period between the last week of April and third or fourth week of May, where I had a group of thoughts or realizations, or maybe I should call it existential crisis, or should I call it the wake-up call? It doesn't matter, you guys get the point. So yeah, there was something about that period which put thoughts into my head that shifted my perspective about a lot of things, and it just made me question a lot of things, life and all that stuff. I came across this deepest fear idea realization, and I'm not gonna dive too deep on it in this video, but if you're interested, you should check out my other video where I talk about it in detail. But to explain in simple words, I just had an idea about how facing your fears and simply embracing and showing the world who you are will allow the universe to reward you. And this idea was influenced from other people and sources, of course. So if you just watch the other video, it'll make a lot more sense. So go check that out. So when my first semester ended, I realized it drained me more than I thought it would. But in a way, it also gave me a good understanding about how I should prepare for my next semester, which is why the second semester was more laid back. It wasn't that stressful. I mean, I was still a loner, but I was just not as overwhelmed as I was in the first semester. And this could be due to the realizations that I had just before. But yeah, I learned to accept uncertainty as part of growth, and I just kept moving forward. I just focused on drawing my own map, paving my own path. For that, all I had to do was just keep moving forward, and that's exactly what I did since Feb, March, even when I was overwhelmed. And I'll explain to you guys this destination. Earlier I told you guys, I didn't have a route, but I had this destination. So during Feb, March, when I was super overwhelmed, I had a belief. Subconsciously, I had this belief in the back of my head when I decided I was gonna, keep moving forward, focusing on whatever was important to me at the time. And university was my priority, obviously, because, my dad paid a lot of money to send me here, and I wasn't just gonna throw that away. But this belief that I had in the back of my head, I came to a better understanding about it. I would say probably in the last 2 months. I came to a better understanding about it in the last 2 months. So basically, I just accepted uncertainty as a part of growth, because detours didn't mean I was lost. So this is example that I read in a book recently. So if you're driving to an office, right, and you take a wrong turn, or if there's a detour, it doesn't mean you should just give up, right? You'll still find a way to the office. Similarly, I didn't have a route, a plan, or a map for where I was going. And for this destination thing, well, I didn't have a clear picture of my destination either. However, I knew parts of what my destination looked like and would feel like. And I feel like it's just something that I've always known. So now you might be asking me, like, what is this destination that I'm talking about? What is my destination? Well, my destination is that I will make some kind of impact in this world, and that I will be successful in ways that will influence and inspire millions of people. So all I had to do was, and should continue to do, and will continue to do, is to remember my destination. I don't need an exact route, I just need to know how to navigate my way to the destination, and uncertainty is simply a part of it. And with uncertainty, there is opportunity for growth. So, this solitude or lonely year, it taught me so many things about myself. That's why it's called Solitude and Sight. So, I learned that there are things that I avoid when no one is watching. I learned how much fear of judgment controlled small decisions in my life, which had significant influence. But hey, listen, I also learned that I care so much about my standards for friendships or relationships or simply anyone who I associate myself with, because I chose loneliness for a year over fake connection. I knew I didn't want noise in my life and I only wanted alignment. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of this good realization that I had. What else? I also learned that I can survive hard seasons of life without external validation, because I've started to respect my mind more, listen to my heart, my instincts more, because I realized that in my entire life, majority of the time when I listen to my instincts, only good things have happened. Maybe not in the moment, but eventually. So I think it was around mid-October or early November when I decided to go back home for December break. Not because I was giving up on anything, I just felt like I needed a reset. So looking back at the year, I realized this year drained me so much more than I expected. And all the realizations, all the lessons that I learned this year, I knew it was gonna make me stronger moving forward. However, before that could happen, I just simply needed a reset and a recharge. I can't just move forward stronger. That's how I felt. So I thought just going back home and spending time with family and just talking to them, and really just the little moments with my cousins and all, that's all I needed, to feel recharged and ready to move forward. So yeah, planning a trip and all that stuff with family, that's totally unnecessary. All I needed was to be around the presence of people I knew. So yeah, I went back home on December, and the first 2 weeks were great. I felt recharged and ready for my next step. However, I had booked my tickets to stay home for 5 weeks, which was totally unnecessary. So from the third week onwards, I started noticing my old patterns returning, laziness, mental fog, and I was just losing momentum. That's how I felt. And before going back home, I had made some plans, just a small to-do list, just some light work to keep myself productive without pressure. And let me tell you this, I didn't complete even 5% of what I planned. And it is in moments like this, right, that made it very clear to me why people say you have to leave your hometown to find success, and sometimes growth requires distance. So listen, even though the last 3 weeks were not on point and what I wanted, let me tell you this, was the last 3 weeks where gratitude hit harder for me. It just made me realize I should be grateful to have a space of my own, the independence and the opportunity to go abroad. and to leave my hometown to, find success. It made me realize that, whatever I was feeling this year, this feeling of overwhelm, the struggle, the loneliness, whatever, made me realize none of it was ever a curse but a blessing, because it made me realize that there are people who wish they had this opportunity that I had, and that they would do anything for this sense of overwhelm, the struggle, and everything that happened to me this year. So I just began being more grateful for the struggle and for this opportunity that I have. Which is why when I came back here, I just felt so recharged and ready for whatever was coming for me next. So yeah, it's just a lot of realization, a lot of things, a lot of positive things coming together at once. That's what the last 3 weeks were like. Yeah. So yeah, that was my year, 2025. I can't wait to see what 2026 is gonna be like. And I know from now onwards my life is gonna change. I can just feel it in the air that something is gonna happen from now onwards. Slow or fast progress, I don't know and I don't care, but this just feels like the turning point, I don't know how to explain it, but I can just simply feel it in the air, and there's just this instinct. And this is not just for 2026, but for 2027, 28, and for many more years to come, and just my life moving forward. I can just feel it. There were a few other realizations and thoughts as well that I had this year, but I don't want to share everything in public, and I believe it'll all make sense one day in the future. But yeah, to end this video, I want to say 2025 didn't give me everything I wanted. It gave me sight, and solitude didn't break me, it only introduced me to myself. And that is why this year is called Solitude and Sight.